Hey everybody, welcome back to my challenging channel. It is Wednesday, July the 19th, and I just completed a threshold run, which is running at a higher elevated heart rate, and I did that for 16 minutes, not including the 10-minute warm-up and cool-off. So it was just a 36-minute run. Plus I also put in a mile around the neighborhood today. So I have a total of 8,598 steps. It's not even 9 o'clock in the morning yet. It's about 80 degrees. It's supposed to be about 104 degrees. And when I checked the temperatures, when I checked the Weather Channel this morning, the temperatures for the foreseeable future will be about 100 plus degrees. In fact, today I think it's supposed to be 104 degrees, and for something like 10 or 12 days in a row, we're going to be over 100. So if you remember last summer, the first summer that we had non-stop weeks of 100-degree temperatures, that was devastating for all of the animal and plant life, and it's definitely been doing some strange things to the tomatoes. If you remember back when I initially began this journey, when I left my corporate world job and indicated that I thought it would be mutually beneficial to do that because of the impending end of the world as we know it, I began gardening, and I, without any effort, was able to grow quite a number of tomatoes. Those tomatoes fruited. In fact, they even got to the point where some of the tomatoes fell off, and we have random tomato vines growing in the backyard that are a little bit better acclimated to the heat, I might add. And this year, the fruiting of the fruits is about the same. Some of the plants are just throwing out as many seeds as they can, and some of the results are a little bit more of a hardier plant, seemingly drought tolerant in terms of just the propagation of life itself. But the fruit that's coming out is being warped and distorted. And in fact, any fruit that makes it close to viable, almost all of the animals are after it. It's a prize. It's a prize because a lot of the foods that were available in the past are no longer available. So for those who are watching this video and not sharing it, like let's say for an example with their spouse or their loved ones or their friends or the rest of the family, the whole overall outlook that I'm trying to provide is it's basically a little bit it's intimidating. And for the people who can get easily offended, intimidating things that make them feel discomfort, are things that can make them feel inferior or insecure, cause anxiety. Those are all symptoms. Those are symptoms that we typically try to mask with medications, but we never really get to the root of it. For me, I've gotten past all of the anxiety. I feel strong. I feel confident. I feel competent. I feel as if I'm able to remember all of the things that I need to remember and perform all the things that I'm able to perform without a whole lot of extra thought, a whole lot of extra effort. That doesn't mean that it's still not a struggle to try and regain my health among all of the pitfalls and ill health that we can be absorbing from one another. What it does mean is that I feel like I'm on track to withstand about whatever comes my way. I even have these feelings like maybe it's been a little bit difficult to lose excess weight because I'm supposed to have it. Maybe having this extra weight allows me to train in a different way that's a little bit more strenuous than necessary. However, maybe this strain was necessary, and maybe all the strains that we've been seeing and enjoying have been necessary throughout time, but maybe we just haven't talked about those things recently with our families. In the past, we had a lineage of grandparents, and people in those age categories now are spending more time visiting with social media than they are visiting with their actual family. And that's just an observation in my own family. Your results may vary. Whatever the case is, the fact that I keep changing my appearance helps to it almost helps to earmark and benchmark certain things that have occurred in life. Like, for an example, I recently saw a loved one and they had done something with their hair, and I noticed that, and I mentioned it, complimented it, and we had a discussion that kind of went, wow, has it been that long since we've seen one another? These are things that, if we're not paying attention, it might not be something that we want to prioritize, you know? I've got friends who have discussed these measures with me in the past, who possibly are reading the blog that I occasionally post on my website, and I've got friends who watch this, trying to see if I'm going to say something about them. Even if they don't know who I'm talking about, some people think that I'm talking about them. The fact of the matter is that across the board, B-O-R-E-D and B-O-A-R-D, across the board, most of us are entertaining our whole situation away without ever thinking about, well, this could be something that we need to begin training for. And for that reason, we'll sit back, taking it easy, doing the same thing as usual, not encouraging our friends and family, but worse than that, hiding the activities that we should be sharing with one another. So that's why I started this channel initially, was to showcase wildlife and nature. And in the course of doing that, I noticed there was a decline. And then during the past few years, when I left my corporate job, knowing that I would have limited opportunities to see and experience some of these things, that's about when I really started turning the page and talking a little bit more about what can we do. So I'm about to stop to get some gas for this vehicle, and the overall situation has not changed. I'm still using things just like everyone else in the world. In the movie Jupiter Ascending, there's a line by one of the villains, and the villain says, "To live is to consume." And that's true. Every bit of living that we do is consuming. Even the propagation of additional new life is consuming. And so if we're not very careful about it, and if we're only consuming rubbish, and if we're only consuming and not giving thanks, then basically we are running an unsustainable model. So I'm a part of this unsustainable model that was brought into the circumstance for some purpose. My purpose, I believe, is to call attention to some of these circumstances and hopefully bring about the change that's necessary for us to grow on living. So if you're paying attention to these things and you have some kind of feedback or some kind of comments or some kind of overall good energy to share on this channel, don't forget to click on the comments and enter something that's positive. Don't enter something that has to do with nothing. Enter something that starts a conversation with someone other than just us here. If you know me personally, you should be communicating with me in person. If you don't know me personally, maybe we still should be communicating in person. I looked online the other day and I saw that there are a couple of people in this city looking to start a band. And I started thinking about what my purpose has been recently and how I'm supposed to incorporate myself into these conversations that have been so shorted so far. With all of this in mind, I hope that if anything, if there's no other action, that we can resonate some kind of positive thought, positive intent for one another, so that you can notice the chubbiness in my face start to go away because I've regained my health. So you can notice the smile that's already there brighten even more. And so you can have a smile in return as you look at the different content that people are sharing, hear the things that people are saying, and recognize that our participation is vital in this opportunity to love one another. Until next time, peace, love, and all that old school stuff.